Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of this decoupage series I got going on. Yesterday I uploaded a video on how I cleaned up my images in a little Photoshop tutorial, and then today I will be showing you how I actually decoupage. If you haven't seen the other video, I will link it up here. These cans originally had beets, tomatoes, artichokes in them. You can save soup cans, you can save some refried bean cans from taco night. This project is so versatile, you can do it on a lot of different surfaces. You can do it on glass jars, you can do it on wood, you can do it on furniture. Pretty much anything you got extra laying around in your house. Want to give it a little zhuzh update to. You can use it as paper towel holder, you can use it as extra toilet paper holder, you could use it as a colander for all of your kitchen spatulas, you could poke some holes in the bottom, use it as a planter, you could use it as a plant stand, you could put some fresh flowers and use it as a flower vase, and dare I say a pendant light. Now I printed my images on tissue paper. They also sell tissue paper that has really pretty patterns on it. You could also use really thin wrapping paper, or you could use napkins, especially vintage ones or Christmas themed ones. Just make sure you pull them apart so you have a single ply you're working with, and those work great as well. If you like videos like this, please feel free to subscribe and ring the little bell if you want to get updated every time I upload a video on DIYs, thrift flips, upcycles, home renovations, and home reviews. So let's hop into the actual decoupaging portion of the series. Now here I am ironing my tissue paper. You don't have to do this part, but if you do, make sure your iron is on the lowest setting and you're not using any steam. You can do this to iron your tissue paper or your napkins. So for this part, you're gonna need regular old computer paper, your tissue paper, some regular tape, and some scissors. You want to cut your tissue paper just a little bit smaller than your actual printer paper. So we're going to put this underneath as a guide. And then I'm going to cut about an inch down from the very top. We have our printer paper and our tissue paper. We are going to line that up just on the inside and then tape it down. Okay, so this is the side that will be feeding into my printer. So we want that whole side taped so it doesn't get jammed in there. I'm just going to tape down the corners, a little bit on the ends. All right, so just like that, and then make however many of these that you need to make for however many images that you are going to print. Also keep in mind your margins on your artboards. So it's not going to print on the tape. That's why you need to have your artwork kind of centered in the middle. If you wanted to skip the whole decoupage process, you have some scrap wallpaper hanging around. You could always use this, glue it down and fold it over the edge. Just make some little snips. On the inside, just put a little bit of glue and then glue them down. Wallpapered pot. Rustoleum and Heirloom white, love this stuff. So now we have all of our painted cans. What you're going to want to do is measure the height of each of your cans so you know exactly the space you're working with when you create your image documents. Part 1 of this video went into depth about where I got my clip art and how to clean them up. Real quick, this is webstockreview.net. This is where I get all of my images from, and they are free. I just wanted to show you a few of my files I got going on. If you want some inspiration, this is going to be for the large can. After you take your measurements of your can, you can set your guides to the height that you want. If you want to play with certain images for certain cans, then this is the smaller can, so I have different options. I also made a few other files that had a lot of different images that I can cut out and place how I want. Now we're getting ready to print. Here is the fun part. Okay, so my printer is, you load it in, it kind of whips around and then comes out. It actually prints on this side. So this is my side with a tissue paper, and this is the taped edge. Tissue paper down and taped edge in. Ooh. Now after you print, you're going to want to make sure that this is totally dry. Then go in with your scissors and cut out your image. I'm keeping the tissue paper taped down to the regular paper. That makes it a little bit easier to cut. We have our tissue paper cut out. You can get rid of this. And this is what we will be working with. And that is the placement of where we're gonna put this. We're gonna flip it over and then put a thin layer of Mod Podge along the back. Make sure you have a piece of saran wrap on hand that is as big as your artwork. Gently lay it on there. Take your saran wrap, pull it tight around, and then smooth it out over the saran wrap. This will help get the wrinkles out, and it will help you from not tearing the tissue paper because it's so fragile, especially when it's wet. Okay, and now it's on there. Now we need to let this dry before we go in with another layer of Mod Podge. So set this to the side until this first layer on the underneath is totally dry. By putting the saran wrap over it, you can really rub it into the grooves. If you're using a tin like this, it will really ensure that your tissue paper does not tear. And then we have this one, so we're gonna let this dry before we put a layer of Mod Podge over it. I have all of my clip art cut out, and now we just need to arrange it on our cans. If you wanted to go up straight from the bottom, you could just cut a little straight piece along your artwork and then build up from there. So I made this quarantine and chill frame for this, but what I want to do is kind of go in around it and lay in some other flowers. So now we have all of our cans done. I'm loving them. I'm just gonna share a few lessons I learned while doing this so you guys don't make the same mistakes. This was the first tester I did, and now you can kind of see how the blue ink bled a little bit. Now that's because I didn't let this fully dry before I went in with my first coat of Mod Podge for the top part. I adhered it and then I went straight in and did a coat of Mod Podge over the top. That's why the blue ink bled. And now for this one, this part looks great. I'm loving this. But unfortunately, where I made the little label right here doesn't look so hot. Couple things. There's too much Mod Podge underneath. And then on the can itself, these were the glue strips that held the previous label to it. I should have really sanded those off. I thought I got them off pretty good, but I guess not good enough. I still really love this quite a bit, and I don't mind the minor imperfections. Now this one turned out to perfection. I love this one so much. And then on this one, I applied a little bit too much pressure even over the saran wrap, and it ripped right here just a little bit. It's not that big of a deal, but if you guys want it to be perfect, then learn from my mistakes. And this one I just adore. Now that we have all of our cans finished, we just have to find a home for them. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Goodbye.